You know I've traveled near and far, see the shining sea. I've seen a lot of places, people that were nice to me. One place that's in my heart, and this is how I feel. I'm talking about my hometown, Fayetteville. She's nestled in the sand hills on a river called Fayetteville. Special to so many who proudly served our country here. She was named for Lafayette and known for cotton mills. I'm talking about my hometown, Fayetteville. My hometown, Fayetteville. I'm so proud to be from here. It don't take long when you're away from home to find out how you feel. It's always good to come home to Fayetteville. Babe Ruth hit his first one, heard around the world. Sherman marched with the Union and burned the arsenal. Old Market House still standing, but stands for freedom's will. I'm talking about my hometown, Fayetteville. My hometown, Fayetteville. I'm so proud to be from here. It don't take long when you're away from home to find out how you feel. It's always good to come home to Fayetteville. My all-American city, Fayetteville. Talking about my hometown, Fayetteville.
Well, good evening. We'd like to welcome everyone to the Tuesday, April 23rd Fayetteville City Council meeting. And because of the holiday, we're meeting on Tuesday instead of Monday. And I hope all of you who are joining us by television as well as in the audience had a good holiday season. At this time, we ask that Reverend Christopher Davis, Senior Pastor of Force of Life Church in Fayetteville, would come to the podium. Ask that all would rise for the invocation, and ask that at the end of the prayer, if you would please join us in unison for the Pledge of Allegiance, which will be led by the City Council. Pastor, how are you?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, City Council members, friends, community. Today I was reading Romans 13:1, and I often pray for our leadership here in the city and around our nation, and it says simply this: let every person be subject to the governing authorities, for there is no authority except from God, and those that exist have been instituted by God. And I mean this with my heart when I say that we've been given a leadership from top to bottom, generally in our community, that really strives to serve our community. And I thank you guys for doing the hard work, and the faith community supports you, as you know that, and we pray for our continued success as a city. Let us pray. Gracious Father, we thank you for this day that you've given us. It's a day we've never had. It's a day we'll never get the chance to live again. Father, help us to live it to the best of our abilities in accordance to your word and your will. God, we pray that you will bring our hearts and minds subject to the vision that is in place here, so that we might be great stewards of our city and of our citizens. God, we thank you for those who serve in law enforcement, fire department, those who serve at every level in the city and the community. Continue to keep us one, united, so that we might greatly impact our communities and serve. In Jesus Christ's name we pray, amen. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Pastor Davis. Pastor Davis, if you would, tell us a little bit about yourself and your ministry. You thought you were getting away, didn't you?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. As always, thank you for allowing pastors to come and bring the invocation. Force of Life was planted here in 2012, August. God gave my wife and I this vision and sent us here to this community. And we started in a home with two couples who were neighbors. And now we're at 2415 Gary Street, and God has allowed us to prosper and grow. And we're honored to be able to serve in this community. We are a faith family fellowship, a non-denominational ministry. But we've been blessed to be able to partner with a myriad of different faith organizations and churches in the city. And I love the faith community here because we are diverse, we are inclusive, and we do truly serve each other through Christ. So that's what we are. We're at 2415 Gary Street. Anytime you want to come fellowship, the word says, come as you are. So come as you are, and you'll be greeted with a warm embrace and the love of Jesus Christ.
Thank you, sir.
So thank you all.
Thank you, sir. So at this time, I will defer to Councilmember Jensen. We have someone special with us tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Tonight, I would like to introduce Day Efron from Massey Hill Classical School. She is a sophomore. It is her first year with the Fayetteville Cumberland Youth Council, and I'm going to turn it over to Day.
Thank you very much, Councilwoman Jensen. Good evening. My name is Day Efron, and I am a sophomore at Massey Hill Classical High School, and I live in District 8. On April 13th, 30 members of the Fayetteville Cumberland Youth Council attended the ribbon-cutting ceremony in support of our new minor league baseball team and stadium. We had the privilege to get a first look with our community of the stadium and all of its great components. We walked around and spoke with other officials, and hopefully we will be back to see a game very soon. On Thursday, April 18th, Youth Council was able to host its very first Diversity Summit. Friends and family watched the movie The Hate U Give, and later discussed the components of the movie and what they meant to individuals. Lastly, I would like to end by announcing that I am running for the position of Vice President for the State Youth Council this upcoming weekend. I am hoping to follow the lead of Rafael Muser, who is the Fayetteville Cumberland Youth Council current secretary, as well as the State Youth Council secretary. This all would not be possible without your continuous support. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, we appreciate you joining us this evening. At this time, we would like to recognize the Congenital Diaphragmatic Hernia Awareness Day Proclamation, and that's a mouthful. So we would ask that Michael and Ms. Brenda Johnson, if you will, meet me at the podium.
Tonight we have from the Office of the Mayor proclamation, whereas 1 in every 2,500 pregnancies is diagnosed with congenital diaphragmatic hernia, CDH. Whereas since 2000, it is estimated that over 500,000 babies have been born with CDH. However, only 50% of those babies survive. CDH is as common as spina bifida and cystic fibrosis. However, very few people know about it or aware of it. Whereas 1,600 babies were born with CDH each year in the United States. And there are many people living in North Carolina who have been diagnosed and have survived their CDH, although many families in North Carolina have endured the horrible pain and grief associated with the loss of the loved ones with CDH. And whereas there are over 900 families affected by CDH living in the state of North Carolina, who are members of the charity CDH International. And whereas CDH International is a charity, is a 501c organization that is created with the help of families affected by CDH. Whereas those with CDH often endure multiple surgeries and possible medical complications beyond their diagnosis that include heart defects, pulmonary complications, gastric and intestinal problems, developmental delays, and many require respiratory and medical support for years. And whereas raising awareness of this congenital defect will help bring about acceptance and support for those suffering with it, and will help advocate for needed medical research and advances. Now, therefore, I, Mitch Colvin, Mayor of the City of Fayetteville, North Carolina, and on behalf of the City Council and more than 208,000 citizens, do hereby honorably proclaim the 19th of April in the year of 2019 in honor of Congenital Diaphragmatic Hernia Awareness Day. Signed, Mayor Colvin.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. And at this time, staff has prepared we've had a very busy week, but a very exciting week in the city of Fayetteville this past week. We welcomed our very first minor league baseball game here in the city of Fayetteville, which went off as a huge success. So a special congratulations to, of course, my colleagues on Fayetteville City Council, to the Woodpeckers organization and the city staff who worked tirelessly to make sure that our commitments were upheld. So at this time, I think Corporate Comm has prepared for us a little video. So thank you for that. And at this time, I saw that Senator Kurt Deviere had entered into the chambers, and I think he has a presentation he'd like to present to the city. So I'll meet you at the podium.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. It's good to be back with you, and congratulations. I'm sure you guys got chills like I just did watching that great video. I'll be brief because I know you guys have a long meeting. I won't read this whole proclamation, but I wanted to come by. I thought it was fitting that on Thursday, to kick off the inaugural season of the Woodpeckers and the opening of the stadium, this $40 million investment that's happened in our great community. I read a senatorial statement on the floor of the North Carolina Senate. It's entered in the permanent rolls of North Carolina in recognition of not only the Woodpeckers' inaugural season, but the vision and the direction of this council and this city for what they did. So, Mayor, I just want to present this to you. It's a senatorial statement. I won't go into the reading of it, but know that it's in the rolls of North Carolina, and thank you so much for what you do for our city.
And certainly like to thank Senator Deviere, as well as all of the members of our delegation who presented us something on Fans First Look Day. as well as our congressional representative, and Senator Devier is a little special because he actually worked on the committee that helped, he and I and Councilmember Arp and Wright worked on the original baseball committee. And so we appreciate you entering that into the floor, and thank you for that. Yes, sir. All right, council. So with that, we will get down to business. So item 5.0 is the approval of the agenda. At this time, I'll entertain a motion.
So be it, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, it's a motion by Councilmember Wright. There's a second by Mayor Pro Tem Moan.
Second.
Any discussion on the motion? All right, council, I'll look to you for your votes to approve the agenda. And I need to recognize Councilmember Culleton will not join us this evening, Councilmember Arp as well. But we do have Councilmember Dawkins on the line. Councilmember Dawkins, are you there?
Dawkins Green.
Dawkins Green. All right. So with that, Madam Clerk, by those present, that is unanimous and motion carries. Item 6.0 is the consent. Councilman Hare.
Thank you, Mayor. I would like to pull item 6.07 for public disclosure.
So is that a motion to approve the consent with the exception of item 6.07?
So move, sir. Yes, sir.
Second.
Okay. There's a motion by Councilmember Hare. There's a second by Councilmember Waddell.
Yes.
Okay. Any discussion on the motion? All right, council, I'll look to you for your votes. Councilman Dawkins?
Dawkins Green.
Can y'all turn his volume up a little bit? Okay. He's Councilman Dawkins is green. Madam Clerk, that is unanimous. Motion carries by those in attendance. Item 6.07, Councilmember Hare.
Yes, sir. Mayor, I'm going to ask, who's coming forward? Deputy Manager Christoph to come forward. There was a big concern in the area of my district on Bonanza, where some constituents brought to me that the speed limit on Bonanza was 45 miles an hour, and we thought all of us thought that was just extremely too fast with schools on both sides, the park, the recreation center. So we made a request to DOT, Deputy Manager.
Sir, and they did an analysis, basically the area on Bonanza Drive between Yadkin and Morganton, and have recommended that be reduced from 45 to 35, and they're looking for council's concurrence tonight.
Once we move forward, and thank you, Mr. Manager and DOT, once we move forward, when does that go into effect?
Well, they'll have to go through the process of doing some notification and putting up new signs, so that'll take a period of a couple of months, but that'll go into effect fairly quickly.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mayor. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we approve item 6.07. That's the approval of the North Carolina DOT speed limit be reduced to 35 on Bonanza Drive from Morganton Road to Yadkin.
All right, there's a motion by Councilmember Hare, there's a second by Councilmember Waddell. Any discussion on the motion? Right, all those in, council, I look to you for your votes.
Dawkins Green.
Greens are flying tonight, Madam
Thanks,
Clerk.
Council.
That is unanimous. Motion carries. Item 7.01, presentation of PWC Time of Use Rates Initiative. Mr. Tragos, how are you? Welcome.
Let me call that up there. At our last commission meeting, we gave a presentation to the commission on our time of use rates and some of the tools that we are giving our customers, some of the programs that we're running to help them manage this new rate design. And Councilwoman Jensen thought it would be good to come and brief council on this, as well as the citizens of Fayetteville, so they had that information. So I want to thank you, Councilwoman, for this opportunity. Let me kind of, let me see here. See if I get this to work. Oh, won't scroll down. Oh, there it goes. Come on now. Okay, there we go. Okay. I'm going to go over some background. I'm going to give the reason why the commission instituted time of use rates and explain very basically how time of use rates work. Then I'm going to hand it over to Mark Brown, our customer programs officer, and he'll explain some of the things that his department and the tools that we're trying to give our customers to help manage time of use rates and actually have the opportunity to reduce their electric bills. Basically, just some background. PwC is your hometown utility. We are a nonprofit. We are owned by the city of Fayetteville. And we are locally governed by our 4 commissioners, and we are locally operated. As it has to do with time of use rates, the first time that time of use rates was discussed by the commission was over 10 years ago when we entered into our new contract with Duke Energy. We saw that there was a disconnect in how PwC was buying power and how we were charging our customers. So they wanted to take a look at what needed to be done that we could more align the way in which we purchase power and the way in which our customers pay for it. So to do that, we had to put in new information systems, we had to put in new AMI meters, and we had to have a way to gather and utilize the data that we get off of those meters. The reason for these time of use rates is PwC, we buy all of our power from Duke Energy Progress or DEP. We pay $140 million a year to Duke for our power. It is our single largest expense. As I like to say, our CFO, Rhonda Haskins, pays the largest electric bill in the state of North Carolina every month. But 60% of that $140 million occurs in 1 hour each month, where each kilowatt hour costs PwC $20. All of the other hours in that month, that same power that cost us $20 a kilowatt hour for that 1 hour costs us 3 cents. So obviously we have an incentive to try to reduce the amount of power that our customers are paying $20 for and increase the amount of power that they are paying 3 cents for.
Yeah.
The good news is that the times in which that occurs where we pay $20 is very predictable. It follows a pattern that has been there for 20 years, and we know what that pattern is. So the purpose of time of use rates is to align what we do with rates to provide an incentive for customers to use power less during that time when it costs us $20 and more when it costs us 3 cents, and to allow customers to enjoy savings as well. So it creates opportunities for them to save money, and it gives customers more choices in how they use their electricity. How do they work? All residential customers are on time of use rates. All churches are on time of use rates, and small non-residential or small commercial customers that are less than 30 kW in demand are also on time of use rates. The hours are seasonal. The on-peak hours are weekdays in between April and October, between 3 o'clock and 7 p.m. In the winter, which is November through March, it is 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. Weekends are all off-peak. Holidays are all off-peak. So basically only 12% of the hours in any year are on peak, and 88 hours are off-peak. So we create a slight price differential for customers. In the off-peak hours, which is basically 20 hours every day, all weekends and PwC holidays, the off-peak rates are 10% less than PwC's rate that we currently charge 24 hours a day. The current rate that we charge all customers under rates today is 10.1 cents a kilowatt hour. The off-peak rates will be 9.1 cents. So it is less than our rate that customers are paying today. The on-peak hours are, like I said earlier, 4 hours each weekday, and they're 30% more than on-peak hours, or 13 cents a kilowatt hour. And again, this applies to all non-residential customers that are less than 30 kW. So we provide an incentive for customers with a price signal to switch power from that on-peak period when it costs us $20 to that off-peak period when it costs us basically 3 cents a kilowatt hour. And Mark Brown's going to go over some of the programs that we have to incentivize that. And then at the end, I'll be available for any questions on the rates themselves. Mark?
Thank you, David. I gave the clerk some copies of information for the council to have. One of these is our Power Tools brochure that talks about the different programs we have. We have a flyer about time of use rates and a refrigerator magnet about time of use rates. And for the citizens in the audience tonight, some of those are at the back table, so you want to grab some of those when you leave. They're available for you back there. It's a pleasure to talk to council about some of the things that I do in my job that you don't hear me talk about very much, because we talk about a lot of things, but this is one of the things that we don't talk about very much, so it's a pleasure to talk to you about that. We have basic two categories of customer programs. One of them is centered around energy efficiency, which we've been doing energy efficiency for a while around here. So it's both electric efficiency and water and wastewater efficiency. And then the second group of programs we have are the ones that are tailored to help the customers support them with the time of use rates and help them reduce the cost of power supply and give them choices. So in the energy efficiency area, we have residential Energy Star appliance bill credits for refrigerators, dishwashers, clothes dryers, clothes washers. We have a residential LED light program for both LED bulbs and for holiday lights in the Christmas season, where you can buy strings of lights and get a bill credit for buying those to get those energy efficient lights in your home. For heating and cooling, we have a residential HVAC replacement program. We have a residential ductwork replacement program for ductwork that's over 15 years old. In older homes, the ductwork begins to fail and you start heating the areas like crawl spaces and attics that you don't want to heat or cool. And so if you replace the ductwork, it's more efficient. And then we have a residential insulation upgrade that you can do. So if you want to increase your insulation to make your home more weatherproof, you can do that. We'll give you a bill credit to help support that work too. We do home efficiency audits. We have two kinds of those. We have one that we charge $40 for, where we use technology and we give you a complete report on your home. It takes about an hour and a half to 4 hours to do, depending on the house. That's for $40. But we also have free walkthrough audits where we also can give you a brief report about the kinds of things you can do to save money. In the other areas of efficiency in water and wastewater efficiency, we have a high efficiency toilet bill credit. We also have a rain sensor bill credit. I don't know if I've seen lots of times where you go around and it's raining and people are watering their lawn. So a rain sensor, if you put that in, it will prevent your irrigation system from coming on when it's received so much rain. So it prevents you from wasting water, watering your lawn when it doesn't need to be watered. So those are the kinds of things that we have for efficiency purposes. The things we have that are designed to help the customers respond to the time of use rate, the first thing we have is we have a pilot program that's a peak savings program. And what we do is we'll give a customer a bill credit for allowing us to control their thermostat. So we can control the thermostat, so with times when because we get information that says it's much narrower than the 4 hours at the time of use, so we can control their thermostat to reduce the usage during that time, and we give them a bill credit for doing that. So we're piloting that. We think that that's something that we can grow in the future, but we're looking to see what the value we can create with that is. And then second thing we have is we have a program where if a customer buys their own smart Wi-Fi thermostat, a thermostat that you can program over the air using this thing that everybody has. And so if you go out of the house and you forget you wanted to do something, or you remember if you wanted to do something while you're out, you can do it on the internet, you can do it over your smartphone. It allows you to control and take advantage of those time of use rates and make choices about whether you want to pay a little bit less on your bill or you want to exchange that for comfort by having it either warmer or cooler when you want, depending on what it is. So those are the two different kinds of programs we have. A lot of energy efficiency, time of use things that are designed to do that, and as we go along, we'll be rolling out some more tools for customers on time of use rates. The other thing I wanted to talk about is what we've been doing as outreach, community outreach, to talk about this, to help our customers and the community be aware of that. So we've been making time of use presentations, I'd say, for the last 3 to 4 months. We're talking to service organizations, church groups, neighborhood watches, homeowners association, and of course tonight talking to city council, telling them about time of use rates, telling them about the opportunities there, and giving some ideas what they can do to do that. And of course with the media, we've been doing radio ads, television ads, local print media, and our WIDU TV radio show. So we've been doing a lot for the last year. The commission approved these rates a year ago, and we spent the next year getting ready for them and communicating that so our customers are prepared for them when they come. They'll start for consumption beginning in May of this year. With that, Mr. Trago and I are available if you have any questions.
All right, great presentation. Smart technology. Council, we have any questions for Mr. Trago or Mr. Brown? I think it was very thorough. I'm just a little more interested in you controlling my thermostat. So tell me about that a little bit.
Okay, so basically the technology, what we do with this program is it's it's like 100 thermostats. We still have some openings available. So what we do is we install the thermostat. Okay, we have a HVAC contractor install the thermostat. While the contractor is installing the thermostat, we do an audit of your home to tell you what kinds of things you could do to improve your efficiency. Okay, and then the thermostat, we're able to control the thermostat from our office. So when we think it's going to hit that 1 hour, we can change your thermostat. We can do a couple different things. We can change your thermostat setting up to a couple degrees, or we can cycle your thermostat so it's on for 10 minutes and it's off for 10 minutes, and just rotate it like that so that you don't really notice it. In my house in Michigan, I had a heat pump on this program for 20 years, and I never knew when they were doing that. So that's the idea of that peak savings things where we can control your thermostat. What we're trying to do is we realize that there's no one tool that works for everybody. So what we're trying to do is put a portfolio of tools together that allow customers to take advantage of the opportunities that are there and to give them choices on how they respond to that.
Okay, and the last question I have, so you gave us a range for peak hours, but I hear you keep referring to that 1 hour.
Right.
So it ranges anywhere during the peak hours?
Right, yeah, so the simplest one is the wintertime. It's almost always the hour ending 8 o'clock. Okay, if you think about it for a second, first of all, they're driven by weather. In the wintertime, it's driven by cold weather. In the summertime, it's driven by warm weather. What happens is the hour ending 8 o'clock, it's still dark out in the winter usually. You have the businesses that I'm sure City Hall has the heating system up and running. Your home is still heating. A lot of people are still at home getting the kids off to school and things like that. So you both have the residential world and the business world using energy at the same time. And in the wintertime, that's when Duke's system reaches its peak, and that's when that 1 hour happens. And it's like 98% of the time it happens the hour ending 8 o'clock. In the summertime, it's because it's heat. It almost always happens between 4 o'clock and 6 o'clock, and the same thing's going on. If you think about that time, the businesses are still open, kids are getting home from school, people are coming home from work, and so you have both the residential world and the business world using energy at the same time, and Duke's system peaks. All right? So the wintertime is much more predictable than the summertime. You do have a few freaky ones when it doesn't happen in that window, but most of the vast majority of the time it happens in those windows that our time of use rates.
All right.
But there's only 1 hour each month.
Thanks. Councilman Wright?
Yes, Mr. Crago, can you go into a little bit more detail about the credits that you talked about for the residents? And can you kind of break that down so the residents can understand, the listeners,
Sure.
as to how that could be a benefit to them?
Right. So if a customer buys an appliance, an Energy Star appliance, and those appliances are clearly labeled in the stores when you go to buy one, it'll show you it's an Energy Star. If they buy an Energy Star refrigerator, they'll get a $50 bill credit. If they buy a dishwasher, a clothes dryer, or a clothes washer that's Energy Star, they'll get a $30 bill credit. If they buy LED lights, they can get up to $100 if they buy at least 8 LED light bulbs, which would take care of most of the bulbs in your home. Heating and cooling, if they replace their HVAC unit with an Energy Star with a SEER rating of 16, which is a measurement of how efficient it is, they can get up to $800 for 2, because a lot of the bigger homes, older homes, have 2 HVAC units, so we can make it up to 2 HVAC units, so you can get both of them replaced if you want to do that. Residential ductwork, as I mentioned before, for ductwork that's replaced that's over 15 years old, you can get a bill credit of $200. Residential insulation upgrade, you can get, if you upgrade your insulation, you can get up to $250 to do that, depending on what you do, because there's really 2 things. There's your walls, and then there's your ceiling and your floor, and there's different levels you do that. So based on what you do, you get up to $250 of credit for that. I think those are basically, and the bill credit for the thermostats is $80. So if you buy a Wi-Fi smart thermostat, we have a list on our website. You can get an $80 bill credit for buying one of those, which then gives you the ability to control how you use energy.
So who would they contact, and how would those residents contact who to get this credit?
Okay, so on our website, the applications are on our website. Okay, so you can submit. What you have to do is it lays out what you have to do. You submit your receipt and do those things. You submit it, And normally within 30 days, you'll get a bill credit once we submit, if it meets all the criteria. But basically, if you buy something in your house and you got a receipt for that, then we'll give you a bill credit to do that.
Great, thank you. Great incentive.
Okay,
Thank you.
All right, Councilmember Jensen.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to thank the staff of PwC. I know that you worked very hard on this and trying for people to understand how the rates go and giving us a tool to help our bills go down so we could be more educated. And just a little note, I had changed some of my lights to the LED lights, and I saw a significant difference in my electrical bill. So what I'm telling everybody is take this information. I'm sure all of us will be putting it out on our Facebook pages. But take the information and go with it, because you are going to save some type of money, whether you just do something small or you go the whole realm. It's in your court now. But thank you for all your hard work.
Thank you. Yeah, the thing is, like I said, it's one size doesn't fit all. So whatever works for you is what we're trying to support.
All right. Any other questions for Mr. Brown or Mr. Trago? All right, thank you.
Thank you very much, Mayor.
All right. Right. Item 8.0, the public hearings. Individuals desiring to speak at public hearings must have signed up to speak with the city clerk by name and address before 7 p.m. this evening. 15 minutes will be allowed for each side of the issue at the public hearing. Individual speakers will be limited to 3 minutes each unless by previous arrangement a single spokesperson is designated, in which case the spokesperson may use the entire 15 minutes. When the city clerk calls your name, please come to the podium. Clearly state your name and address for the record. You may then address the city council. When the light changes from green to amber, it means you have 30 seconds left to speak. At the end of your allotted time, the timer will ring. At this time, we'll have our staff person. We'll turn it over to you, Ms. Marshall.
Good evening, Council. I'm Marsha Bryant, Development Advocate for the City of Fayetteville. The Development Services Department brings tonight 16 proposed amendments to the Unified Development Code. These amendments were discussed at a public hearing before the Planning Commission on March the 19th. At that time, they recommended approval of 14 of the amendments, recommended approval with a minor revision to one of the amendments, that would be number 6, and they recommended denial of one amendment, and that would be number 13. You have a list of the amendments in your packet. And then, if it's okay, I would start with the amendments we propose to bring our code into compliance with the North Carolina Building and Fire Code. They are number 2, which is fences around swimming pools. Currently, our code addresses fences required around above-ground pools, but it doesn't mention, in-ground pools. It doesn't mention above ground. So we propose this amendment to align with the North Carolina Building Code. The second one would be flammable liquids and gases, the storage tanks of those items. Currently, our code limits the size of those tanks and indicates they have to be stored underground. We'd like to bring our code into compliance with the fire code, which allows different size tanks, and for each one of those categories, they address how they should be stored. As I go through them, if you have any questions, you can let me know, or if you want to wait till the end. Okay. The next 2 proposed amendments are to bring our code into compliance with the North Carolina general statutes. One of those relates to clear-cutting permits. Currently, our code indicates that if your property is in the forestry program, you do not have to get a clear-cut permit, but our code does indicate that you should leave a perimeter buffer around the area. Well, the North Carolina General State Statute indicates that the cities shall not place any more restrictions than the statute does. So we wanted to remove that section of the code that indicates a buffer should be left in place around the perimeter of the property. The other amendment is for development agreements. In 2015, the state statute was amended. They removed the size limitation, the acreage requirement, and they also reworded the statute regarding phasing, timelines and phasing of development agreements. So we would like to change our code to be in line with that, not requiring a specific size of the property, and just using a more reasonable term, reasonable timeline versus a specific timeline. There's a couple of places in the Unified Development Code that mentions privilege licenses. In 2014, the general statute indicated that cities could no longer require privilege licenses, so we are making changes that will remove that wording. One of those regards produce stands, and the other is the pruning or removal of public trees. So we would remove the reference to privilege license required. Amendment number 7 is to bring a portion of the code into compliance with a code and policy that was adopted in 2017. At that time, City Council approved an amendment that would allow the Special Events Committee to review and approve special event banners, and this portion of the code was omitted and wasn't updated. So to update it in accordance with what was already adopted in 2017, we wanted to make changes that would streamline the process, indicating that it would go just to the Special Events Committee, and it would only go to the Historic Resources Commission if the banners in the Historic District are to be attached to the exterior of buildings. Some things regarding code clarification. Currently, in the protected tree code, exempt specimen trees are southern yellow pines. Southern yellow pines do not have to comply with the tree protection code. Well, longleaf pines are considered a southern yellow pine, and we want longleaf pines to be protected. So we wanted to add wording that included in the category of southern yellow pines, longleaf pines are not included in that category. So longleaf pines would be protected, other southern yellow pines would not be. Just some general regulations and standards we'd like to amend is to align the front yard setbacks in the LI Industrial District with the front yard setbacks allowed in the Heavy Industrial District. Currently, the LI District is more restrictive than the HI District, which staff did not understand, didn't believe that made sense. So we're asking that those two be aligned, the front yard setback being 15 feet versus 30. We wanted to align the rear yard setback on corner lots in the MR Residential District with the setback requirements in other residential districts. That code amendment was previously done, I believe it was 2012. There was an interpretation and a code amendment in 2012 that indicated all residential districts should have a 15-foot rear yard setback when two front yards are met on corner lots. And when the code amendment actually got processed, it still did not include MR5 residential district. So this is to change the MR5 rear yard setback on corner lots to align with the SF15, SF10, and SF6. And number 6 is in bold because that is one that the Planning Commission asked for a slight revision. The amendment would remove the zoning use type of senior centers and just categorize those as a community center in the zoning code. So senior centers would be categorized and follow the same zoning regulations as a community center. The Planning Commission just asked that we rename the use type community center to community center / senior center. So it would still have the reference in the code to senior center, but it would still be the same, allowed in the same districts, follow the same guidelines as community centers. 4 proposed amendments to the sign code. The first is to require a sign permit when you have an existing sign and you want to change the sign panels. Currently, our code does not require a sign permit for that. The second is to allow the copy area on existing signs to be changed, even when the type of use is changed. Currently, if a business changes names and it's the same type of business, you can change the panels on the sign. If the type of use changes in that building, you would have to take the sign down and put up a new sign. The Planning Commission actually recommended denial of this code amendment, but staff is recommending approval. The next code amendment for signage would be to change the definitions of frontage for lots, and frontage for buildings. Currently, those definitions indicate that frontage is on a public street. We want to add that frontage also includes private streets. This code amendment relates to number 15, which is to allow signage on property that fronts on a private street. Currently, the sign code allows signage based on frontage on a public street. So if you happen to be on a commercial lot that fronts on a private street, you are actually not allowed a freestanding sign because you don't front on a public street. Private streets have to be built to city standards. They have to have sidewalks just like public streets. So we feel that they should be allowed signage like would be allowed on a public street. This slide indicates your options: to approve some or all, to deny some or all, to make recommendations or revisions, or to remand it back to staff for further review. And the last slide indicates that the Planning Commission recommended approval of 14 amendments, approval of 1 amendment with a revision, and denial of one amendment. And these are the 7 items that City Council must find in order to adopt code amendments, text amendments. So if you have any questions, I can go back to a particular topic.
So, any questions for her before we open the public hearing? And I did have a question. I do see Councilmember Chris. Staff's opposition to proposal 13, I think it was?
Planning Commission's opposition?
You said there was one that in the sign code that staff or there was not a recommended change on. Do you have any insight on?
Staff recommends approval of it. Planning Commission recommended denial of it.
Okay. That was 13.
Yes, number 13. Staff feels like if there's an existing sign and somebody moves into that existing building, regardless of if the use changes or not, or if they're selling shoes and now they're selling hair care supplies, they should still be able to change that sign face.
Yeah.
The Planning Commission, they discussed it twice at 2 different meetings, and they still went with denial, that just expressing that if the type of business changed, they felt like the new business should put up a new sign versus just changing the sign face.
Okay. Councilman Chris?
Ms. Brown, what was number 17? I missed that one.
Number 17, oh, I'm sorry, I think I missed number 17. That is fence requirements, fence height requirements, and I'm sorry, I did not discuss that one. Currently, the code for residential and non-residential developments allow a 3-foot fence or a 6-foot fence. And in residential district, if the fence is decorative, they can go up to 5 feet. However, that note does not include non-residential districts. So staff felt like if you can go up to 5 feet with a decorative fence in residential, you should be able to go up to 5 feet decorative fencing in non-residential. That's what that last one is about.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir. Councilmember Jensen.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, I want to go back to number 13. It's talking about if it changes the use. So what I'm understanding you saying is if somebody comes in there and they're a shoe shop, and then they leave, and then somebody comes in and it's a beauty supply, and there is a sign out there, and it has a pole, and it has the thing, and normally we can just change out the interfaces, and they can put their, whatever they need to put on it. What I'm hearing you say is if the beauty shop comes in, we have to take down the sign and put a new sign and take down the pole sign.
That's correct.
Okay. So starting over from scratch. So I guess my issue is now that this rental property and you have to change out the whole sign, you know, that's an additional cost of thousands of dollars. We are saying, okay, this building is going to be vacant, that we have somebody that wants to come in, but we're going to tear down a sign that they can just change a face in it and say you're going to have to spend about anywhere from $3,000 to maybe $10,000 just to change a sign. Now, I have to explain myself, and I know we're not going to go long, but when all this signs ordinance started, I had a business and I had a sign. I moved my business, and they said, you know, my business went from 6 words down to 3 words because of the new sign ordinance. And 2 years later, I could have had the 7 words on. So we need to be careful on what we're saying here, because we have these business owners spending a lot of money because we're changing the ordinances, and then we say, that really didn't work. So what was good 2 years ago and you had to pay your money is now okay. So we have to be very cognizant of that. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, Councilmember Waddell.
Thank you, Mayor Colvin. My question is also about number 13. So do we have, is there something in place where if a business has a sign that's non-conforming, it's essentially grandfathered in until it changes?
That's correct. It's a legal existing
Non-conforming,
sign.
okay. So my question is it possible, or was the reservation, and you may not be able to speak to this, was the reservation on behalf of the planning committee because for that reason, that if a sign, if we don't make this change where you have to go through a process to change that sign, we end up with long-term non-conforming signage versus when the business changes, we have the ability to have the advantage of the sign now becoming brought into compliance and conforming?
Well, they did talk about that, but understand that if it's the exact same type of business, they can do it. They can change that sign face based on the code. But if the business changes, even if they're selling a different type of product, or it's an office and it's going to a different type of office, they can't do it. So staff just felt like if you were going to allow it to be done, which our code does, if it's exactly the same, the code actually says it can, if it's identifying the same profession, commodity, product, or service. So if that's the case, you can do it. You can leave that non-conforming sign there and change the face.
So my
Otherwise,
question
it
would
has
be,
to go.
thank you. So my question would be, what needs to happen in order to make sure that as businesses are transitioning or changing, non-conforming signs are being brought into compliance and are now conforming signage? What needs to, is this something that maybe does not reach that objective and we should, because I think that's been a lot of the conversation that we've had in terms of how we approach the look and feel of these corridors that house our businesses, is that we would like to see them brought into some form of compliance along these various areas. So if this change does not meet that objective, are we actually meeting the objective that the council has been communicating about for at least, the almost 2 years that I've been a part of it?
This code amendment would require some non-conforming signs to be removed if the business changes or the type of sales change. But to get all non-conforming signs removed, I think it would require a different code amendment, amortization.
Right,
phasing
and
those signs out.
that's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that what do we do to make them all change now? I just want to make sure that we're not, to be very plain, that we're not signing off on something that does not, that removes the obligation. If a business changes, that it removes the obligation of them to bring that sign into compliance. And I might be missing something, but I just want to make sure that that's not what we're doing right now.
Well, currently it does say if the building or type of use changes, you do have to get a new sign.
Yeah, well, I don't support this.
You good, ma'am? I'm good. So, before I go to Councilmember Wright, I think that we're trying to do something indirectly that we're not doing directly. If you want to clean up the look of a corridor and you want to say that they should have certain signs at a certain height, then I agree that there should be some direct way to approach that. But to tell someone that because you sell cookies in this building that you own, and then now you want to sell hair supplies because what you've changed or the type of business that you've changed, and we say that you can or can't put a sign, is over-regulation. And I think that, we're spending time worrying about what type of business versus the appearance of it. If it was good for one type of business, it's good for another. But if we're going to update the way our corridors look, I think that's a more direct approach that should be used. But Councilmember Wright?
Yes. My sentiments exactly, I wanted to address the sign changing basically reference to the type of business, and the mayor spoke to that. But what we're trying to do is come into uniformity in the long run. So what I see you trying to do is basically, as time goes on, all of these businesses will come into uniformity based upon the type of businesses, based on the UDO. Is that correct? Because you're saying, the city is saying one thing, or the staff, the committee, but then the UDO committee is saying another.
Planning.
The planning committee. Is that?
Well, these are the planning commission recommendations from the planning staff. Yes, the planning commission did not agree with the planning staff. They recommend denial, and the planning commission recommends approval.
Well, and I agree with what the mayor said. We should be looking at image based upon what type of business, because really, if I wanted to open a business, and I open that business and it already has an existing sign, an existing pole, an existing sign, I would just want to go in and change the face of it, regardless of what type of business, because we're looking at trying to work with small businesses coming in instead of making it harder for small businesses to function well. So you don't want to tax them based upon that. If it's adequate, then let's use what we have. And I think you kind of grandfathering existing signs based upon the same type of business. So to me, that's...
And it would affect the small businesses, because if you had a larger corporation coming in, they're probably going to want to take the sign down and put up a new sign.
Right,
anyway.
because they have the money to do it.
If I can go ahead and clarify what you have in front of you currently. The recommendation you have in front of you, because I think it's it's gone 180 degrees. The recommendation is a split one. Staff is saying for those businesses that already exist and they want to change their face out, let's be consistent and not say just because you sell this product to this product, if that product doesn't match up exactly, you have to tear down your sign. Staff has said no. The Planning Commission has taken a different approach, and theirs is the one that, okay, let's use this opportunity that's already in the regulations that says whenever businesses change, they need to bring the sign into conformity. Clearly, that's a policy type of an issue. The position of staff has been that we're trying to help small businesses and redevelopment, and by adding or incurring an additional cost on those businesses by having them change out their sign, we don't think is appropriate. However, that is one where it really is a policy issue, and whichever the board decides. But I think somewhere in the conversation it looked like maybe it was, you didn't understand staff's.
Yeah, no, we got it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay?
Thank you for the clarification. Councilmember Hare and then Chris.
Okay, come back up, Mr. Newton, just one more time, because I want to make sure I'm 100% positive on this. You're saying that the planning staff recommends that if an existing sign is there and a new business comes in that wasn't there before, staff is saying, hey, let's let them use that sign. But the Planning Commission is saying the opposite. They're saying, no, let's go ahead, tear the sign down, put up a new sign.
That's correct.
Correct.
And the chairman of the Planning Commission.
Okay. So, now, can a motion be made now?
Well, we've got a couple more questions, and yeah, we still have to open the public hearing, yeah.
Because I don't really
So, yeah, we'll
see that as.
We've got to open that, so
friendly as it
we'll wrap these questions up, and then we need to open our public hearing up.
Okay.
Councilman Chris.
Here's my concern, and I want to throw this out there for thought. I like what the Planning Commission is saying, if the sign is currently non-conforming, all right? If there's a business in there that's been grandfathered that has a non-conforming sign that's selling donuts, and then another business moves in there that's selling hair products, I think this is an excellent opportunity to get the non-conforming sign down and put a sign up that conforms. Give that some thought, okay? Because when you look at our gateways, we have a truckload of non-conforming signs all over this city, And this is an opportunity to do something about it. Only if a business changes, all right? We're not talking about the small business that's staying put now, but if there's a business change and that sign that's up there is non-conforming, why should we allow the new business coming in there? They weren't grandfathered on that sign. The old business was. Give it some thought. Thank you.
Thank you, and I think the question is, if I never change the way I do business, I still have a non-conforming sign. So if we want to take down non-conforming signs, we need to have some direct method to take down non-conforming signs and not back into it by punishing people who want to change types. That's my opinion. But Councilman Jensen, and then Hare?
No, I've already spoke, Mayor.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, this is the last thing I'm going to say about it, and I'm going to piggyback off what Councilmember Chris said, and we're going to disagree for once. Maybe twice. But what I would say is, if you have a place there that is renting and it is a bar, and it is maybe a type of business that we don't feel that we would like to change with another business, then the whole sign is going to have to come down. And if I was a landlord and I had a tenant in there that was giving me rent, and that type of business was giving me rent, you're going to keep it to what that type of business is if you don't have to pay for a new sign. If you tear down a $6,000 sign, you're saving money keeping it in the same occupancy that it is. Just something to think about.
Well, with that, I think we've discussed it. Now we will open our public hearing. Madam Clerk, you can call your first speaker.
No, we have no speakers.
Quick
for this
public
item.
hearing. All right, we will close the public hearing. So, council, I'll look to you for action. I think I see Councilman Hare's.
No, I'll let the pro
Oh,
tem.
you voting already?
No, I was gonna make the motion, but
You and Waddell are voting, or that's motions?
I have a question.
All right, so okay, we'll hit your question. There's no motion on the floor. So, question? Yes, ma'am.
Before we have a motion to approve all of the text amendments, is it possible that that motion can include separating number 13 so we can vote separately on that? Because I would like to have an opportunity to vote separately on that if given a chance.
We can entertain whatever motion the council puts forth.
go ahead, pro tem.
Okay, based on Councilmember Waddell's request, the motion is to follow staff's recommendation to approve the proposed text amendments that are in our agenda packet, and that those text amendments are in compliance with the congruency of the proposed standards for text amendments as required by Code 30-2.C.2 parentheses E, minus, you had mentioned number 13, ma'am?
Yes.
Ms. Waddell?
Well.
Minus number 13, we dealing with the signs.
Now, is that motion to approve with the exception of 13, to have
A separate
13
vote.
voted on a separate vote?
Yes, sir, a separate
Okay.
vote.
All right, so just need to make sure, okay. All right, so there's a motion by Mayor Pro Tem. Is there a second for, second by Councilmember Wright? You voting?
No, that was
Oh, okay. All right. All right, council, this is a motion to approve with the exception of 13, which will be taken in a separate motion. All those in favor? All those, well, I'll take your vote at this time.
Dawkins Green.
All right, Madam Clerk, that motion is unanimous by those present, so motion carries. I'll entertain a motion for item 13.
The motion would be to approve staff recommendation for the text amendment number 13 in our agenda packet, and as that it is congruent with the standards for text amendment as required by code, chapter 30-2.2, chapter 30-2.C.2 parentheses E.
All right, so there's a motion with everything that he just said for item number 13. Is there a second? There's a second by Councilmember Hare.
With discussion, sir.
Okay, so was yours a question or a second?
Second with discussion.
Okay, all right. So we have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem, second by Councilmember Hare, and now open for discussion. Councilmember Hare.
Yes, sir. So am I to understand, Mayor Pro Tem, that you're requesting, and I think I understand what staff's recommendation is. So if there's an existing sign, if a new business comes in there that was the opposite of what was their previous, they still can use the sign. They have the use of
Correct, they
using that sign.
can change the face. I mean, they probably, got to get a permit to do it.
Well, I
Legally,
understand
don't fall down, but they could use the existing infrastructure of the existing sign.
Then I'm so moved on the second, sir.
All right, I'll have Councilmember Wright and then Chris.
No, I have clarity, Mr. Mayor. I'm good.
Okay, Councilman Chris.
I have clarity too, but I say this to you. I've sat in this seat for a long time, and I've heard numerous chairs of the gateway committees complain about signs, non-conforming signs. And what you're doing here, if you approve this, is you're giving a grandfather clause to any new business that comes in and takes over a business that has a non-conforming sign. All they have to do is change face. So you're never gonna get rid of your non-conforming signs if you approve this motion. Thank you.
So I will address that. I was former chair of Gateways, and we attempted to have some consistency on the gateways. Now, what I will say is that this vote, to me, is not in support of non-conforming signs. This vote is to say that there should not be a restriction on whatever type of wording that particular sign said. If it was compliant for the words that were in it before, regardless of the words that are in there the second time, if it's a legal, legitimate business, I think this is not a way to deal with our nonconformity. I would much rather see an amortization or some targeted action to address nonconforming signs in a separate matter. I just think that this is a spot pick. So you hope that businesses change types of usages, or this may discourage a business like Ms. Jensen said, that was a bar or something under, some business that was there that would change in maybe a church or something that you would prefer to be there in some circumstances, to be discouraged by doing so. So I just wanted to clear that up. But I think there was Mayor Pro Tem Moan and then Hare.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Question for staff, please. Marcia?
Mr. Manager, did you have something to add to that before?
Yes, sir. If the council is of a split mind, we can defer this to your work session on May the 6th.
We've got a motion on the floor, so if they choose to do it, we'll have to do it after this motion is understood. All right, Mayor Pro Tem.
Hey, yes, ma'am. So what I heard earlier, sign for a business, and there's a swap out. I believe you had mentioned some of these signs are completely conforming, and some of them may not be conforming just because a business switches out. Or is it safe to say every single sign, when a business switches out, to use the same face, they're all non-conforming currently?
This is under the non-conforming section.
So these are all non-conforming. So every non-conforming sign can still be switched out when a business switches out.
If it's exactly the same business.
Right, if it's exactly the same business. That's the current statute.
Correct.
Right, the current statute. But what we're saying is, with these non-conforming, they don't have to come down if it fits within the face. And that you would recommend a different way to approach the non-conforming signs. Or you telling us a policy decision? She's smiling, so
That's
okay.
up to council. Staff just felt like if you allow some small businesses or any business to change the face, then, be consistent and allow it for all versus allowing, if it's the same business, change the face. If it's a different business, different type of business.
Right.
Save them a lot of money.
Okay, thank you. I'm clear.
All right, Councilman Hare.
Yes, sir, Mayor. I understand better now. I understand, I think, very clearly, but I was just thinking, when it was popping up about the sign and how the sign looks and things along that line, that's the whole purpose of our inspections department. If there's a sign that there's some kind of code violation, that's what they're there for, to see that and then go knock on the door and go from there with the business. So I'm fine with where we're headed.
All right, so Councilmember Wright.
Okay. To me.
I'm sorry, Chris, and then Wright. Well, this is your first round, sir.
This is my first.
I'll come back to you, Mr. Chris.
Yeah, to me, it's hard to make a decision based upon the scenario for me, because what we're trying to do is bring our city under to conformity when it comes to signs. When I go around the country and when I travel and I go to different cities and I see these signs that are all conforming, throughout the quarter, and they look so good. We want our city to look that way too. And I'm perplexed as to which way I want to vote, but I think that ultimately, if we want all of our signs to come into conformity, we're going to have to kind of just take a stand here and make a decision what we want. If we want for another 20 years to have unconformable signs in our quarters, that's what we're going to have. But I think that's why we are elected officials, to make those hard decisions. And if you're going into business and you know what our UDO is asking for when you come down to the city, I think just informing them right up front, this is what's going to be required of you. You make the decision whether you want to make that investment or not. And I think that at this point, as a city council and what our desires are as the UDO wants to come into conformity, we have to make those decisions. So I think that I agree with Bill on this one, that we definitely want to bring our city into conformity to have the look and the image that we want Fayetteville to have. And so this is it for me.
All right, Councilman Chris.
Mr. Mayor, there's a way around this. A motion to table until the next work session is a preemptive motion that overrides the motion on the floor. Yeah. Now,
Accept it.
the problem that I have is we haven't heard, we were told the planning commission has discussed this twice. And I would love for this to go back to a work session and allow us to hear from the planning commission their rationale on why they are adamant in this regard. Councilman Wright brought up the issue, and it's very clear. And I heard what you said, Mr. Mayor, but the reality is, if we do this, we are giving grandfather clauses to existing non-conforming signs, and all the new business has to do is change the face. And the sign pole, the height, all of that can still be non-conforming. And we're stuck with it. I wouldn't issue the motion. I would expect Mr. Hare, who made the motion, that he could move to table this to the next work session. And if that motion to table passes, then it gives us the opportunity to discuss this, to hear from planning and zoning and staff, and figure out what we're gonna do about all these. We have closed businesses because they were non-conforming in this city. We closed a truckload of, I'll call them junkyards for want of better terminology. We closed them because they were non-conforming, okay? And so I am leery here of voting this and giving unlimited grandfather clauses to these non-conforming signs into perpetuity. All right, the way out of it is for a preemptive motion, table to the next work session, if Mr. Hale wants to do that. If not, we can go ahead and make what I feel is a grave error by not listening to the rationale of planning and zoning. Thank you.
And thank you, Councilman Chris. Now, what I'll say is this. This item was debated when I was chair of the Gateways 3 years ago. This is a can kicking at its best, okay? And because a business does not change the type of business that he engages in, doesn't fix the fact that he has a non-conforming sign. And so we're going to have to make a decision, and we're going to have some intestinal fortitude to say, as a city, these are the new standards. Because if we change this UDO tonight, tomorrow, people are out of conformity if that's how we do it, because things change. You update policy. So I would say if you would like to deal with that, as I would, I'm concerned with our gateways, let's deal with that process directly and say, listen, by a certain date, we want all signs on these specific corridors who are in our most highly traveled areas to look like this. That is simple to do. Businesses have a warning, but this inconsistency about if you change the type of business that you do, we're running business away is what we're doing, because you right now, it was presented to us several years ago that we have more vacant commercial property than Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And that is because we have onerous regulations that really get in the way of entrepreneurship. I mean, and so it is the difference between a deal coming here and going to one of our surrounding municipalities if you're talking about $15,000 or $20,000 to change a sign because you've changed the type of use. And that's how we end up with the undesirable businesses that fit into this use that you're talking about. So we're having the opposite effect. Those are the unintended consequences of what we're doing. If we want to fix and dress up our gateways, let's address that directly is all we're saying. But to move this to a work session is just kicking this 3, 4, 5-year-old can down the road. So I would prefer, I understand there's a motion and a second on the floor, and I would like us to take an up or down vote on that. And then, Mr. Chris, you can propose a motion separately if you would like to send that to a work session. But at this time, we'll end the discussion, and we'll take a vote on the motions on the floor. So,
To do an amortization, you're gonna have to go to a work session.
the motion on the floor was by Mayor Pro Tem Moan, and it was seconded by Councilmember Hare. Would you repeat it, sir?
The motion was to follow staff's recommendation on item 13, which would allow for the face of a sign to change even when the type of business changes, and that text amendment is congruent with the standards for text amendments as required by Code Chapter 30-2.C.2, parenthesis E.
All right, so as a reiteration of the motion, council, I look to you for your votes.
Dawkins, Green.
Way to go, Johnny.
Madam Clerk, that motion is 5-3. Voting in favor is Councilmember Dawkins by phone, Colvin, Moan, Jensen, and Hare. Voting in opposition is Councilmember Chris, Wright, and Waddell.
Mr.
Motion
Mayor,
carries.
I take exception to Councilmember Hare's statement to Councilmember Dawkins, congratulating him on voting favorably on that. That's an out-of-text remark.
All right, well, that,
and should not be made
all right, well,
concerning a vote.
that's so noted. So now we'll move on to item 8.01. What is it? It's about an hour and a half in. Council, let's take a 10-minute quick break.
All right.
City Council meeting. We'll start with item 8.02. Mr. Freeman.
Yes, sir. Mayor and City Council, Taurus Freeman, Planning and Zoning Manager for the City of Fayetteville. I'd just like to start off by telling you that we do not have any signs located in this bundle of text amendments.
Well, that's good to know.
Yes. So, but this text amendments are a combination of 10 months of hard work by our UDO task force. As you all may know, is an ad hoc committee that was appointed by our mayor. And over the past 10 months, they have been going over each and every portion of our code book to this point. So this is some of the hard work that they have done. And this has been brought before the Planning Commission and approved on March 19th. And staff gave their endorsement of approval, and all of it has been unanimous, from the UDO task force to the Planning Commission to staff itself. Now, tonight we have 18 recommendations that we'll look at. And this will cover different portions and segments of the UDO. Our first section, we start off talking about off-street parking, 30-5A3K, maintained in good repair, include curb cuts and or motor vehicle stops, and subheading J to be included in subparagraphs K, 1, and 2, and to be maintained at all times. 19, 3-30-5A4, maximum number of spaces permitted is to eliminate the maximum percentage of allowable parking spaces, as well as the entire section F, maximum number of spaces permitted. Table 30-5A7 is the dimensional standards for parking spaces and aisles. These changes regarding the aisle width for one-way traffic with 90 degrees from 24 feet to 20 feet. 21, 30-5A8C3, site zoning. And the task force recommended to delete this section altogether. 30-A8C4, maximum shared spaces. They also recommended deletion of this section. Number 23, under shared parking, is to relocate 35A8C6 to subparagraphs 1, which is 30-5A8C1, and renumber the remaining paragraphs in order to eliminate the subparagraphs 6C. Table 30-5A10 is regarding the required off-street loading spaces, which has visitors accommodations not be required to have loading spaces if it's not a full-service restaurant and hotel in accordance to the Cumberland County Health Department standards and regulations. Number 25, 30-5A11D2, medians and driveway entrances. Change number 2 to read, signage may be included within the median if it meets the requirements of the fire code, the sign ordinance, and traffic services. 26, 30-5A11C, stacking lanes for parking lot entrances, which will include possible exceptions to stacking lane requirements for sites with 2 or more driveways. Our next section is the loading, circulation, landscaping, and tree protection standards as shown in 30-5B. Under new plantings, it will change to read the following: plant materials not on the list may be approved by the city or the utility provider on a case-by-case basis, and to plant material not on the list may be approved by the city and the utility provider on a case-by-case basis. Table 30-5B3E2H regarding species variety, and they will delete the last row on this table and modify the final row to read 31 plus versus 31 31 to 40. And I may add that in your packets, you have a summary of all these text amendments under the recommended amendments, and you have the actual section that is current and the proposed section that is we're recommending approval tonight. Back to our list, number 29, regarding locations. The linear perimeter footage is exclusive of docks, bays, and pedestrian entrances up to 50% of the total perimeter linear footage. 30, interior vehicle use area landscaping standards. All rows of interior parking shall be terminated by a tree planted within a landscaped island. Perimeter parking detailed in paragraph C does not require a landscaped tree. Figure 35B4C deals with vehicular use area landscaping as well, and it's to amend the figure to match subparagraph B as outlined. When trees are being provided in a perimeter buffer, islands are not required in parking rows abutting those buffers. 32, 30-5B4C3D. At least 50% of all trees required in subparagraph D shall be canopy. 30-5B4E3B. B is the screening methods. Change the wording in it to read an earthen berm that is at least 2 feet in height or planted with ground cover landscaping materials consistent with the functions of and requirements of a type D buffer. Provided, however, that the berm shall not be used in the downtown district or if it will replace existing trees of 6 inches in caliber or more. And also, location of buffers, change the wording to state no trees are to be planted within a drainage or utility easement except as allowed on a case-by-case basis by the appropriate authority. And our last recommendation for tonight is the design standards for exterior lighting, which is found in 30-5E. Coordination with tree location reads as follows. Site lighting must be located no closer than 15 feet from the trunk of a canopy tree and 5 feet from the trunk of an understory tree. Staff will entertain any questions that you may have.
All right, thank you, sir. Any questions for Ms. Freeman before we open the public hearing for this item? All right, the board looks clear, sir. This time we'll open the public hearing, Madam Clerk, and call your first speaker.
Mayor, we don't have any speakers for this item, but Ms. Laurie Epler is here if you have any questions of her. She serves on the committee.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Well, with that, we will close the public hearing. And before we open the floor for any questions, I'd like to thank members of the UDO Task Force Committee. Could you all please stand so we can recognize you? So, General Aycock, thank you for the great work that you and Ms. Epler and others have committed your time to assisting the city to work through this very complicated document. So at this time, Council, do we have any questions for either General Aycock or Mr. Freeman or any others? Yes, sir. Councilman Chris.
I'm looking at 35 again, coordinate with tree location. With regard, is this site lighting where they illuminate the tree or something, or overhead lighting in a parking lot or something has to be at least 15 feet from the trunk of the canopy tree? Explain that a little better. Number 35.
Right.
The last one that you.
Correct. So what the proposal is, site lighting must be located no closer than 15 feet from the trunk of a canopy tree and 5 feet from the trunk of an understory tree. Well, currently in our code, that is not stated. It only says that site lighting must be located no closer than 15 feet from the trunk of a tree. So therefore, now we're saying that it has to be 15 feet from the trunk of a canopy tree and 5 feet from the trunk of an understory tree as well. So we're also looking after our understory trees.
All right, I got it now. Thank you.
All right. All right, council, look to you for action.
Mayor, I would like to make a motion that we approve the proposed text amendments to the UDO of the Unified Development Ordinance as recommended by the UDO Task Force. I guess I should put these numbers in there. TA 19-018 TA 19-035.
So there's a,
Dawkins, second.
so there's a motion by Councilmember Hare and a second by Councilmember Dawkins. Any discussion on the motion? All right, council, I'll look to you for your votes.
Dawkins, Green.
All right, Madam Clerk, that is unanimous. Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Freeman.
Thank you, sir.
Item 8.03, annexation request for GCMMB LLC property, Ramsey Street at Farmers Road. Hey, sir, Mr. Nash.
Hey, Mr. Nash.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, this is the first of two annexation public hearings tonight. The first one is the GCMMB LLC property, a limited liability corporation property. This is located on the western side of Ramsey Street, north of Farmers Road, just south of the brand-new I-295 interchange with Ramsey Street.
What street?
Ramsey.
All right, go ahead.
The petition was actually signed by Mrs. Armstrong, who was an officer with GCMMB LLC. It's 9.79 acres. About all we know right now is that it's going to be developed commercially. We just do not know the specific type of development. This is a vicinity map. The color codes show you that what's in yellow is already inside the city. The area shaded in blue is the area requested. It's one tax parcel right now. And Ramsey Street is to the right of the area. There are dashed lines going around the boundary of the area. This is a legal description type map of the area. It's actually turned opposite from the way the one you just saw. In this one, the top side of the map is looking west. We're not positive who the future developer will be. We're assuming it may be the current owner. And again, we just know that it'll be commercial development. I'm not sure of the type or timing. And they do plan to use PWC utilities, and the policy that's now in place requires annexation whenever a developer wants to use sewer. You have several options in your, as shown here on this slide, and the staff is recommending option one, that you adopt the ordinance with an effective date tonight, April 23rd. There's much more information about this case in your packet. The reasons for the recommendation are that the petition is sufficient. It's been checked out by our real estate division. There's really only one standard, that it be contiguous. And we're allowed to add road right-of-way in this situation because the road right-of-way separates the property requested from the current city limits. The departments, city departments and PWC divisions have reviewed the area and say that they can serve it with no real cost. And the budget impact should be positive for the city. I think there's a table in your Appendix A document that shows some figures. And that's really the end of this presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Nash. Any questions before we open the public hearing? Council? I don't see any lights, sir. So with that, Madam Clerk, we'll open the public hearing. You can call your first speaker.
Mayor, we have no speakers for this item.
All right, with that, we will close the public hearing. Councilmember Jensen.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. With that being said, I would like to make a motion that we approve the annexation request for GCMMB LLC property on Ramsey Street at Farmers Road related to P19-07F for initial zoning.
All right, thank you, Councilmember Jensen. As a second by Councilmember Waddell. Madam Attorney?
Mr. Mayor, if I could just clarify, your motion is to approve the request for annexation and to confirm the initial zoning.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so motion to approve the request for
sorry, Mayor.
annexation and to confirm the request for the zoning, correct?
Right, and is that effective tonight?
Yes, ma'am. That's your motion?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so we have a motion to that effect and a second by Councilmember Waddell. Any discussion on the motion? All right, council, I'll look to you for your votes.
Dawkins, Green.
All right, Madam Clerk, that is unanimous. The motion carries. All right, item 8.04, annexation request, MacArthur Park. Mr. Nash, long time no see.
Let me clear this one out if possible. Minimize that. All right. Okay, your second public hearing tonight is referred to as, it's got several names actually. We're now calling it MacArthur Park 2, the northern part, also known as the Riddle property. This is only about 6 acres. The land is now vacant. It's part of a 30-acre parcel that's never been annexed, often referred to as a donut hole. This area is located to the west of Ramsey Street, north of MacArthur Road. The current owners are the Riddle Trust, and there's actually a longer name of that trust, but Ms. Terry Henderson is the trustee of the trust, and Mrs. Trina T. Riddle, each own one-half interest of this property. This area is proposed to be developed as the part of Phase 2 of a new multifamily project to be known as MacArthur Park. In the area we're talking about, or we've been asked to annex tonight, there are 64 units are proposed to be built. This is the vicinity map. Again, the area in yellow is already inside the city. The red line shows you the donut hole area. The blue area is what's been requested. It's indicating the PIN number there, but that's not too important right now. To the east of the area is the Walmart shopping center, and then Ramsey Street, and a lot of other commercial development. To the south is MacArthur Road, some new apartments across the street, and Idlewood Drive. This used to be, the part that they're developing as the overall development of MacArthur Park used to be a mobile home park. This is a legal description map, just showing you some of the meets and bounds descriptions that we have to have for the ordinance. This is a map showing the layout of the buildings as they will be. The buildings shaded in white are actually in this area requested for annexation, along with the 2 buildings that are already in the city to the south of it. And this one probably does the best job of all of showing you the Part 2 area, MacArthur Park 2 area. And the area that's kind of a rectangular shape piece is what's being asked for annexation. Excuse me. It's our understanding that the future developer will be United Developers. Again, it will be a overall project known as MacArthur Park with 176 units. In the part already in the city, 96 units. In the part that, of Phase 1. Phase 2, 16 units will be built on land already in the city. Phase 2, the northern part, which is what we're here to consider annexing, will be 64 units, as mentioned. And again, they're wanting to use PWC utilities, and their policy requires annexation when they want to use sewer. Again, these options are as in the packet, along with much more information. And again, staff recommends option 1, annex the area effective tonight, and establish initial zoning. I should have said this on the other action. In this case, establish initial zoning as mixed residential MR5, consistent with the prior action on the zoning case, which was in your packet as a consent item. The reasons for the recommendation, again, are that the petition's sufficient. It's owned by the 2 groups of Riddle folks. It is contiguous. It meets that standard. PWC and the city can serve the area, and the budget impact should be positive. Questions?
All right. Council, any questions for Mr. Nash before we open the public hearing? All right, Mr. Nash, I don't see any lights. So with that, we'll open the public hearing. Madam Clerk, you can call your first speaker.
Yes, sir. May we have 4 speakers for this item? The first speaker is Mr. Marvin Mercer.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Mayor and Council, my name is Marvin Mercer, and I am the engineer for the project, representing Mr. Riddle, the seller, and then United Developers. In the interest of time, that was a pretty good presentation and representation of what we're doing. I'll just answer questions, or I can come back and answer questions. I know Mr. Smith and I believe Ms. Pugh had signed up, and I think unless there are questions that they need to answer, there's no reason for them to come up unless you have questions for them.
Thank you, sir.
Is that okay with you?
That's fine with me. I don't see any lights, so but you'll be close by if we need you. All right. Madam Clerk?
Mr. James Smith.
I think he's consolidated
Okay.
his.
And then Ms. Shannon Pugh, and then Mr. Joe Riddle.
So
Okay.
So I think they've designated their time.
Okay, I have no further speakers, Mayor.
All right. So, Ms. Jensen. Oh, well, let me close the public hearing then. So with that, we'll close the public hearing. Ms. Jensen.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. If there are no questions, I would like to make a motion. I would like to well, first of all, I'd like to say I am no, I'll say it later. I would like to make a motion that the city staff recommends option 1 annex to the area effective April 23rd, 2019, and establish the initial zoning as mixed residential MR-5, consistent with the prior action on the zoning case. This recommendation is based on the following. The annexation petition is sufficient. The property meets the statutory standard. It is continuous. Ability to serve city and PWC are able to serve area. Budget impact should be positive for the city. I probably said too much, but sorry about that. Do I need to restate it?
No, we got it, I
Okay.
think. And so there's a motion to approve the annexation request as well as to establish the initial zone.
Dawkins, second.
All right, well, I've got a second already, JD.
All right.
Got Councilman Wright. He pushed his button. So we have a motion by Councilmember Jensen, second by Councilmember Wright. Any discussion on the motion? All right, Council, I'll look to you for your votes.
Dawkins, Green.
Madam Clerk, that is unanimous, and District 1 is on fire tonight. All right, item 8.05, Mr. Freeman.
Our last item from the Development Services Department is case number P19-8F, with, excuse me, well, actually, that's not it. There we go. Is actually case P1906F, which is rezoning of the pre-UDO parcels to UDO standards and correct zoning boundaries to reflect the parcel specific districts versus polygons. This is an item that actually has come before you in February during your work session. This item has went before the zoning commission and they recommended approval, and that vote was unanimous. And what we have here is our zoning map, and as you can see, there's circles on there. Those are areas from which that have proposed changes. A lot of those have obsolete zoning classifications that are located within our Unified Development Code. And what we'll be doing is actually getting those to a more closely related classification and making sure that the uses remain the same. A lot of those changes are from that were conditionally zoned. Part of our changes that staff is proposing is what you see on the left is what our current zoning map looks like. What we'll be doing in the future is be more parcel specific, so therefore you'll be able to see the right of way and see where the properties are located on the map. We think this is a lot more comprehensive, a lot more cleaner, and gives a lot more information to anyone who's searching our site or any other sites related to our zoning. These are our zoning translations that we have here. As you can see, we had C1 conditional. That zone classification no longer exists. And so the new classification will be NC CZ conditional zoning. So we feel as though this is supported by the code, which would make it a more legal forming document. Once again, the Planning Commission and staff recommends approval of this request. Any questions?
All right, Ms. Freeman, I don't see any lights, so this time we will open the public hearing. Madam Clerk, can you call your first speaker?
No, we have no speakers for this item.
No speakers. With that, we will close the public hearing. All right. Council, have any questions, or we'll entertain a motion for action?
Mr. Mayor, if I may. Or
Oh, okay. Councilman Chris? It's on you, sir.
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve the zoning map amendment to remove obsolete zoning districts within the city of Fayetteville to reclassify to the closest matching or appropriate districts within the Unified Development Ordinance, UDO, and to correct the zoning boundaries to reflect parcel-specific districts versus polygons. That is my motion.
As a motion by Councilmember Chris, there was a second by Councilmember Wright via lights.
Effective
he
this
got
day.
you. Yes. So it's a motion to approve based on presentation. So any discussion on the motion? All right, Council, I look to you for action.
Dawkins, Green.
Ms. Jensen? Okay. Madam Clerk, that is unanimous by those voting. Motion carries. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Item 8.06, Phase 5 Annexation Utility Improvement Project Areas 18 and 19. Public hearing on preliminary assessment roll.
Hello again, Mayor and Council. I'm here this evening to go over the information for the public hearing for the proposed assessment for areas 18 and 19 of the Phase 5 sewer extension. There are 34 total areas, so we're slightly over halfway done. You'll have an item on your agenda at your next meeting on May 13th to approve the proposed assessments and the interest rate that's associated with that. And I'll be available after the public hearing. If any of the citizens have questions, we can go back to Lafayette Room and answer their questions. So the construction area you can see of Area 18, I believe both of these are in your district, Mr. Crisp.
Yes, sir.
And there's Area 19.
Yes, sir.
So we'll go over a little bit what's happened so far, where we're at with the project schedule, what the cost of property owners are being, what the financing options are. So back in 2014, we mailed survey notifications preparing for the design of that. In 2016, the council adopted the preliminary assessment resolution. In April, copies of that resolution were mailed to the property owners of 2016. In November, we advertised as bids for Area 19, and in February 17 for Area 18. Construction was complete in Area 19 in June of last year and in December of last year for Area 18. And we provided the preliminary assessment roll in March of this year. That's the wrong date, March of 2019. And then we're proposing that the council act to confirm the assessments, as I said, at your first regular meeting in May 13th. So the cost to property owners, a typical single-family residential lot, the proposed assessment is $5,000. For a non-residential property, which is all other properties that aren't single-family residential, a per front foot charge of $55.56 with a 90-foot minimum. That is the same rate per front foot as a residential, single-family residential lot that had 90 feet of front footage. So both categories are being assessed at the same rate per front footage. And the non-residential, in addition to the 55, 56 with a minimum 90 feet, they also are charged the average cost of a lateral. In this project, the average cost of the lateral is $2,545. The interest rate, based on city council policy, is 7%. That's 2% plus the prime rate on July 1st, the beginning of this fiscal year. So that's what city council policy calls for that to be. And with that, I'm going to turn this over to Cynthia Blott to talk about the availability of financial assistance for these.
Hello, ma'am.
Hello, Mayor, members of council. Thank you for your time. I wanted to give you a little information on the program that staff allocated for fiscal year 19. We actually allocated $100,000 from CDBG to assist homeowners with the connection fee and the plumbing fee. At this point, we have exhausted all the funds for fiscal year 19, and we won't see a new allocation until sometime in October from HUD. So unfortunately, we don't have any funds available to assist with this new connection phase.
All right. Ms. Block, can you answer a question before we open up the public hearing? I know there was some discrepancy with the receipt of the block grant funds for those who qualify for assistance and when the funds were actually paid to PWC. In a situation like that, I know that's the first time I've encountered it since I've been on council, and this may be more of a management question, a question for Tracy or some of the budget folks. But is it possible so that citizens who qualify are not assessed an interest or a late fee for the city to bridge that, being that they know they've been approved or are anticipating the receipt of this block grant funds?
Yes, certainly. As in this case, if you went ahead and approved this and we opened up the funding again in October, there would still be that May through October timeframe that the homeowners would assess interest. So yes, I believe you can, what is the word I'm looking for? Appropriate the funds in lieu of us receiving the grant. We don't find out notification that we're even receiving CDBG and home funds till sometime in August, September, and we don't actually receive it from the government till sometime in October, November. So yeah, I believe you can appropriate it based on the contingency we receive the grant from HUD, but knowing, of course, if they didn't, for whatever crazy reason that grant didn't come, the city would be obligated for that funding.
Okay, and I'll go to Mr. Chris, but thank you. Mr. Brown, when does PWC start charging late fees or interest to people?
By statute, Mr. Mayor, 51 days after, well, let's see, I'm sorry, it's 30 days after you confirm the assessment is when the interest-free deadline is. So if you pay within 30 days of the confirmation of the assessment, then you don't have to pay interest. But any time after that, then interest is charged by state statute.
So the council could theoretically make sure that it's after we approve the assessment, so the ball is on council's court just to make sure that...
You would have 30 days if you wanted to do what Ms. Blott suggested. You'd have 30 days to do that and still be able to grant the customer some money to avoid them paying interest or late fees on that.
Gotcha. Councilman Chris?
Yeah, Ms. Blott, let me make sure I'm clear on this, because this has created some significant problem for some very senior citizens. We put in the request for monies, CDG block grant funds,
Right.
and they don't always come, but this time they didn't come when we anticipated. And so the customers paid that portion that they were compelled to pay, but the whole bill is theirs to PwC. And then the city was supposed to pay the remainder of that amount. Let's talk about $5,000. Let's say the customer paid $3,000, and because of low income or what have you, your office was to pay the other $2,000.
Correct.
Well, we didn't get the money in a timely fashion, and so 51 days later, as Mr. Brown pointed out, they started charging interest on the $2,000 that was unpaid, all right? I think I heard what the mayor said, and I hope I heard what you said. I just want to clarify. When we approve these people, I don't want to make it sound like these people. When we approve citizens who cannot afford to pay the entire $5,000 assessment, did I understand you to say the city, they're going to pay the $3,000, the city can pay the other $2,000, and then when we get the block grant funds back, we can give that back to the city's general fund? Did I hear that right?
Certainly, it's an option to appropriate the funds in advance of the actual receipt of the grant. That typically happens anyway, because we do have to keep our programs continually running before we receive the actual allocation from HUD. So yes, council can appropriate that the funding, but I want you to remember that the funding goes quite quickly. So we can't help everybody. The need is very great.
But the ones that you approve, you approve a lot, but you take them as they apply. And so if 40 people applied, but you're only going to give funds for 20, that's the ones that I'm talking about. Those 20 are going to have to pay $3,000, and then we will pay the other $2,000.
That's correct.
Now, what are we going to have to do, Madam Attorney, to make sure that we don't go through? I think, Deputy City Manager, we've got an outstanding debt of about $14,000 on interest, and to our citizens that were low income and approved. Don't quote me on the amount. I said about $14,000. What do we got to do, Madam Attorney and Deputy City Manager, to see that we don't inconvenience? Let me tell you, I had a 92-year-old man in the hospital worrying about the interest and thinking that he's going to lose his house because they're going to put a lien on the property. He's in the hospital, okay? We just can't have that kind of thing going on. How do we avoid this, Madam Attorney, Deputy City Manager? Do we have to make a budget ordinance amendment, or what do we got to do going forth?
Councilmember Chris, staff is working with PwC staff to not only resolve the issues that you spoke about in the arrearage, as well as to avoid this in the future. We have not quite worked it out, but we are aware of this issue, and we are working to address this issue and make sure we don't have it going forward.
We're working on it. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
All right, so, yes, sir.
Thank you. So I just want to talk about the payment options once you confirm the assessment. So citizens can prepay the assessment. It's due in full, no interest, with 30 days from the time of the notice. So when you confirm this on May 13th, there's some days before the notice actually becomes effective. So it's 30 days after the notice, which turns out, I think, as Mr. Chris said, about 51 days after you confirm that interest is starting. You can finance by state law. You can finance at a 10-year term at the interest rate set by council, which I said the recommendation based on council policy is 7%. The maximum by state statute is 8%. You can do it in annual or monthly installments. And if a citizen financed on a monthly plan, the whole $5,000 at 7% over 10 years, it would be about $58 a month. And if there's any other questions for me.
I think that's it. With that, we'll open the public hearing. Thank you. Madam Clerk, we'll open the public hearing. Can you call your first speaker?
Yes, sir. I only had one lady sign up and I don't see her in the audience. Her name is Miss Charlene Dula. Miss Charlene Dula. Okay. I have no further speakers.
Okay, with that, we'll close the public hearing. Council, look for a motion to approve. I think that it's been voiced to the city manager as well as tonight, our concerns for this float money. And so I think that's a separate conversation that hopefully staff will come back with some options so that this can not happen again. Yes, ma'am, Mr. Attorney.
Mr. Mayor, no action is required tonight. This will come back to you, as Mr. Brown said.
All right. Sounds good. All right. Thank you, sir. Item 9.01, resolution providing the sale and issuance of GO bonds related to Parks and Rec. Mr. Toler.
Thank you, Mayor, City Council. Tonight before you have a resolution for 16 million of the 35 million for the 2016 Parks and Recreational General Obligation Bonds. So this will be the first of 3 issuance, and the resolution reads as follows. Resolution providing for the sale and issuance of $16 million General Obligation Parks and Recreation Bonds, Series 2019. At this time, staff is asking for any questions or a motion and a vote to accept the resolution, which will move the process forward. And this is to include the 2005 GO refunding bonds, which was presented to council on March 18th.
Councilman Chris, is this a question or
Yes,
you?
sir, question.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Mr. Toler, since the approval of the Parks and Bond referendum, I know that we've been collecting some money from citizens, but I think we've spent more than we've collected. Is that correct? Don't need actual figures.
It's pretty close.
Pretty close.
Pretty close.
Okay.
We're really looking at some acceleration with Senior Center West.
So if we have spent more than we have collected, when do we restore the money to the general fund that we've spent
Now,
now? Thank you.
we'll close.
As we go forward. Thank you.
So this is kind of the same model we were just speaking of. We floated the money, and now when we're issuing the bonds or our first draw, is this our first draw on the 35 million?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Councilman Wright.
Mr. Mayor, I wanted to make a motion.
Sorry, Michael.
Mr. Mayor, I wanted to make a motion to approve the resolution providing the sales and insurance of 16 million general obligations Parks and Recreation Bond, Series 2019.
All right. There's a motion by Councilmember Wright. There's a second by Councilmember Jensen to approve. Any further discussion on the motion for item 9.01? All right, Council, I look to you for your votes.
Dawkins, Green.
Madam Clerk, that is unanimous with Mr. Dawkins Green. Motion carries. All right. Council, look to you for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
I had several on that.